to do it for that sake as opposed to walking that line, you know? And that's a hard thing to do. That's a new type of production, so I don't fault them for it. And when they get it right, they do it very well.
Well, it's a razor's edge that you don't want to tumble off.
It's a tightrope to walk, man. But I think
it is
what they're doing with it. It's different, and that's the main thing, dude. It's old school nostalgia presented new, so you're there, but you just got to be careful with a couple things. Like, so Colt Cabana comes down and gets over in the crowd, right? And and everybody walks down through those steps, which all I'm waiting for somebody to turn an ankle, you know what I mean, or some shit like that. And I don't think heels should enter that way, because why would the heels want to be in the crowd that way? No way. And then it should only be really reserved for Colt and maybe like a special guest when ODB showed up to pop the crowd. Like, who's it gonna be? And the spotlight's up there, and then they pop, because Colt gets over so much with that that to have everybody do it lessens it, you know what I mean? And then he can get to the bottom of the steps and then pull somebody through some chairs if he wants to.
We've been in the stands with Colt Cabana in the past.
I knew that one was gonna get you.
We've been drinking some brewskis with the ODB as well. She is oh so beautiful,
Yeah.
oh so collectible, oh so lovely. She is the ODB.
Yeah, man. You partied a lot with her on 4th Street and down on Bardstown, no doubt. Well, I had her on because her GoFundMe was just kind of ending the Indiegogo because her food truck burned down. You know,
yeah. Well, Mick gave her a good push there, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the whole wrestling world, and when I think she's going to get over even more now off of that, showing up at WrestleMania weekend and all that. But to see her on Impact and to have her there and just kind of give that final push back and say, hey, we love you and all that. And we did about 15 minutes. She was sitting at the end of the bar. She had gotten her iPhone stolen the night before, so she had a new phone, didn't have anybody's numbers. I called. He's like, hey, I'm glad you called. I don't know who anybody is. So I was like, let's record something, Dirt. And, you know, it was just that nostalgia throwback. It makes me feel good, and that's why I was super excited today to hit you up and be like, hey, man, you got some time. I know we've been talking about it for a while. Let's hope the stars align, and twinkle, twinkle. Sure they did, man.
Yeah, shining bright. You mentioned Nick there in NWA, Nick Aldis. British man. It seems the UK team are taking over the wrestling world.
Yeah, man.
You got Big Stu Bennett there on NWA as well. Marty Skull made a surprise entrance.
I mean, they're all boys from back in the day. That's their clique, their core, right? That's same as me, you, Serena, Jamin, APOC, and Sucio, and Kamikaze Kid, and Package, and, you know, that's all, Hog Wild, you know, that's all of our crew. So, yeah, we can't leave nobody out. Some people, that's the thing. Some people, when they don't get to where they wanted to go in this biz, that's still fine, because every time I see somebody who does, or see even Vladimir Kozlov, not like we were super tight. I got to manage him a couple times, and he's, you know, he's a freak unto himself, but to see him doing movies and that stuff now, I'm like, good on that dude, man. You know,
incredible.
So
yeah, but it does seem like the British are taking over the UK. You look at NXT, you got Regal in charge of it there. Then you've got Finn Balor. Then you look at AEW.
But dude,
Jimmy Havoc.
You want to talk? I mean, so just because you got jobs though, Twink, you know, this is my platform. This is the Friday Locker Room, veteran style. We're not gonna blow some smoke up somebody's ass just because guys got jobs, man. Like, you know, shout out to those guys taking care of their brothers. I got a lot of respect for that. And I wonder, though, like, why wouldn't you hire Nick Aldis? Like, I don't know. I know Nick. I talked to him. I'm not going to be that asshole. Be like, dude, they got Mick. Look at you. You're a goddamn stallion. Like, there's money written all over him, and he's still got an end around. Like, come on, man. The fact of the power couple they could be in WWE, but then you're like, well, as soon as they get up there, they do some Lana Rusev bullshit to them to fuck with them instead of getting max value out of them, you know, like they should. So I'm kind of glad he's got creative freedom to book his own stuff, and Billy, you know, trust his vision. And now, not that I want Cornette out of there, because it's easy to shit on Cornette, and I don't want to at all. Like, just people do constantly. And what he did for the cancel culture to come after him with the Ethiopian joke, which can be mistook as racist for a black joke, chicken joke in 2019, which you're gonna, like, you know, whatever. You and I come from Jim Cornette. Not even though we never worked with him, everything about Rip and Danny is Jim Cornette. Everything about OVW is Jim Cornette, the mentality, you know? So the fact that Stu is replacing him on the gig, did a bang up job. Awesome job. And you know he would. But this cancel culture, I don't know if this resonates with you. We just had Eddie Murphy, who I love, host Saturday Night Live after 35 years. Did like serious black jokes, even called like coonery and things like that that are way above and beyond. Excuse me. Now everybody's putting it over as a great performance, which it was. But this cancel culture is now choosing who they go after and fuck over. So I saw Dave Marquez on Facebook put over, he shit on that. He's like, good job, USA. You fucking put over Eddie Murphy, but this guy does not even a tenth of the joke, and they come out of the woodwork to cut his throat. Not that Cornette's not controversial, and that's not how he makes his money, but the double standard in this country right now is unbelievable of what people let go and what they don't.
We love the old school mentality, the Jim Cornettes, the Rip Rogers, the Al Snows. Some of the ribs Al Snow has played in the past are incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and if you can't take Rip going, you're a fat bastard, you're fucking rotten, go over there and practice, making you puke, blow up till you puke, and then getting shot by Von Lilas is, your badge of honor, then you shouldn't be in this business. You shouldn't be worrying about any other of that shit. That's, once you're in, it's the mafia. It's not about color, race, keeping this person down or the other. It's about protecting that brotherhood as much as whatever's left of it, with kayfabe being broke. But that's what you really are learning there, as well as your fundamentals and how to play politics, yeah?
Yeah, and that bond is so strong, isn't it? I mean, it lasts a lifetime.
It does, because no one's going to know. And I say this to my producers, we've had the Mark conversation or what have you, and, you and I could have been considered Marks easily, and very well could be, as like not the in-ring performer, but once you pay your dues for a year in Rip's class and setting up that ring, no one can take that away from you. And that's the chop wood, carry water mentality that you absolutely have, dude.
Yeah. Well, you got to love what you do. There's no point being in the wrestling business if you're not a fan of it, or you don't love it, or you're not passionate about it.
Yeah.
And there's a big difference between the fan and the mark. I mean, the mark are the people that are spending thousands of pounds buying belts, wrapping them over their shoulder, and then just lolling around, or spending billions of dollars on a potential, industry to get them to where they want to be. But a fan is somebody who just loves it. They're passionate about it. They want to be around it.
Yeah, man, and you can get all the access you want, and some people will cross over. There's guys like Josh Ashcraft who are in that crowd as fans, who are now OVW stars and legends who've really put the time in there, man. I do feel bad, though, and I know OVW brothers will listen to this to some degree, because there is a bubble of great minds trapped there, because there was a mentality that, everybody outside here is a goof, and you'll go outside, and there's a lot of goofs out there. I've worked a lot of indies. Yeah, I worked a lot of indies with a lot of people where I'm just like, okay, you're not gonna get it, no matter how simple I make it for you. But there's a lot of places where I've been able to really flourish and have great experience, and even sent Rip my match with Chris LaPlante, who's the owner in Canada. I've been working up there a fair amount now, who hasn't worked in 4 years, was his last match. He came down actually when we were at OVW for like 2 weeks, but because of visa, he couldn't stay, and did a couple things. I vaguely remember that, but I've been working up there a lot, Twink, and that's all, just great workers in Canada, crazy wrestling fan crowd that really responds to it, gets it. And Rip you could tell he was almost like pumped to work. He wants to do something up there, man. So there's these guys who are still there, who I want so badly to be able to break out and go ply their trade. And it seems like it's eating them up now that they never did. And they feel like the window's passing them by. And like, it's all about getting that WWE job and AEW job. Like, the reality is, it's about going out there and going to be able to work Canada, going to be able to work Japan, coming to the UK, which I'm hoping to be able to do this spring, man, with a couple options. I got to talk to you about some things. And they're still just stuck in that Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky area. They don't even break out to go up to Chicago, 4 hours away. And, I was making that drive every week, just going from comedy back and forth, man. And I don't want to call him out, but it breaks my heart to see him bitching about things when I'm going, dude,
Well, you
you're
can't wait for somebody to knock on your door. You've
right.
got to go out there. You've got to knock down the doors. You've got to travel the world. You've got to make those opportunities. You've got to become the best you can be. And OVW is the greatest place in the world to learn your skill.
Yep.
But once you've learned your skill, go out there, go and make a name for yourself. And then you'll be doing OVW a favor, because you'll be saying, look at me now. This is where I started. You go and start there too. OVW is not the place to spend the next 20 years of your life. It's there to spend 3 years, learn your skill, learn it as best you can, and then go and knock those doors down.
Absolutely, 100%. You don't go to college to stay there for a decade, right? You know, if you are, you're a doctor. But even at that, 8 years in, you got to be. And those guys are doctors of their craft. I was glad to see Shiloh kind of break out of that, Shiloh Jones and Shiloh Mount, if you will, and do the thing with Mike Eagle. He got some good side rap world buzz that way, and then he was just like an extra in a scene on AEW. So I really hope he's getting a shot, because if those guys make their own opportunity, once they get in the ring, it's apparent who you want on your show. That's how I get on. I'll get on these shows, get an opportunity, and guys are like, dude, your shit was awesome. I'm like, I'm just flag waving where everybody else is jumping off shit. You know what I mean?
But it's believable flag waving.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I want to say shout out to the chat room this morning. I see Hameen Media Group in there. Matt Schaffer's in there. Sonic the Hedge Rat, Havel Cone, and a couple others. But appreciate you guys joining us as this Ultra Kayfabe Thursday edition of your Friday Locker Room with my good friend Twinkle Toes Martin Evans. Ready to get to this bullshit headlines, Marty. I'm not sure how much wrestling you've been watching, but we'll run them down, man. I might have
Let's do it.
I might have a little surprise for you, a Christmas surprise here, hopefully. I'm hoping in the next 10, 20 minutes or so.
Let's do this then.
All right, from ProWrestling.com. Oh, man. Fandango undergoes surgery following recent NXT injury. WWE superstar Fandango posted on Instagram showing off his left arm in a sling with a caption, "My dreams of pitching in the MLB are kind of over." Fandango 38 included the hashtag Tommy John, seemingly indicating that he recently underwent a procedure as ulnar collateral ligament reconstruction, aka Tommy John surgery. The surgery was named after the 26th season Major League Baseball pitcher of the same name, and requires a ligament in the elbow to be replaced by a tendon, either from a part of the recipient's body or from a donor. Fandango last wrestled in December 11th edition of NXT tag match against the Singh brothers. During the match, he delivered a maneuver on the floor and immediately began clutching his left arm before he quickly finished the match with a top rope elbow drop, notably using his other arm. It's been a tough year for the veteran wrestler as far as in-ring competition is concerned. Fandango suffered a serious shoulder injury in 2018 that put him on the shelf for over a year. He and Tyler Breeze had been only just returning to the NXT brand as a tag team in August. So pretty shitty news there for Fandango. With NXT coming in and kicking the shit out of the main roster and then being highlighted as the brand to go to AEW, a lot of these guys who are in Florida who've been marginalized sitting there see that this is their chance to get over again and help NXT brand with star power. Unfortunately, lightning strikes again for this guy, and that just sucks, dude.
Bad news. But at least it wasn't his hips. Imagine what life would have been like if he'd have had a broken hip. I mean, that would have been the end of the Fandango character.
That's it. Well, he does the arm point, so I mean, I don't know how high he can go anymore. He might just be down by the hip there. Just do a little Charleston after that or something.
Yeah, but as we know, this is not ballet dancing. People are going to get hurt. People are going to get injured. Could this be a great opportunity for Tyler Breeze, who's a talent in his own right, to really step ahead, break down those doors, and become a huge single star? Because they both had the opportunity and the potential. I don't know where it quite went wrong for either.
I don't know, man. Well, let's talk about it. Do you think so? I'm also waiting here, hopefully in the next 48 hours, to get with Rick Victor, our good buddy APOC, as we call him.
Oh, cool.
Unfortunately released because they're fucking stupid and don't see millions of dollars or how to make it most of the time. But, I remember when they were doing the Fashion Files and the Ascension kind of came back and that was their push. Here these guys are doing DCW level character bits, right? Like weird guys who can't get over in the ring for some reason because they're not booked the right way, really, to be honest with you. That's the reason. And
they got over huge in NXT though, didn't they? They were a demolition level success.
Well, they killed them day one. Do you remember how that happened?
What, when they jumped over to the main roster?
Yeah, they came out and they said we're better than Legion of Doom. And fucking, and like the crowd's like, fuck you, you are. You know, the NXT crowd might have said, yeah, but the main crowd, dude, they should have brought Animal out to manage them. Like they didn't give the rub. And there's old school heat with Legion of Doom and Vince. So I don't know if that was a fuck you based on that or whatever, dude. But right from the jump, they were climbing out of the hole. So I remember I was getting hot because I wanted so much with the Illuminati stuff and just the best for APOC. You know, I just wanted them to succeed because that shit was so awesome. And then they're doing the Fashion Files. I'm like, okay, it's comedy, but these guys are such high-level players. And Pac was like, Pops, I appreciate that, man, but this is the most fun I've ever had doing anything in WWE, so I'm just going to keep doing this, no bumps. And do the comedy, man. But I know it's all love, man. Like that's your APOC interview coming up, you guys. No constant monitor. Yeah, but you know that like he was loving doing that. A, no bumps. B, get featured. You know,
making the money without the bruising and the bumps, as you said. There's only so many bumps on the bump card. If you can make the money and have a bad back at the end of the day, take it.
Absolutely. So, I laid off and not laid off like I was hammering on them, but I wanted to be like, all right, well, if I can come up with anything, I'm glad to do it. And then they kind of ended as quick as it began. Instead of taking it up to the next level and getting it really serious, they could have done like that whole look of a special victims unit crime drama show and really stepped it up. Like they could have done every crime drama show ever done. You know what I mean? X-Files to whatever, but unfortunate. They just shotgun everything. But to get back to Breeze and Fandango, I mean, we've seen this gimmick. If you want to talk about, OVW, we had Alaskan Assassin, which we made Mr. Cosmo. He didn't have to do much except comb his hair, and it gets over in a comedy way. And then Ali became Eye Candy Ali, and it was a switch out from the Insurgency. But to me, these Adonis gimmicks, short of Rick Martel, like really going with it, doesn't appeal to me. I look at it, and maybe it's me in my age group, but I see him come out in the furry boots and the selfie stick and the Zoolander kiss pose and stuff. Like, to me, when you want to get him over as a babyface, that's never going to work because who wants to live vicariously and be that guy? Like, it's just a comedy thing. So as a heel, you're doing in 2019, okay, is this guy half a queer gimmick, and then you got to stomp him out, and that's not a good look either, So I think
but a few little minor tweaks though, and I thought you had the charisma, you had the athletic ability, you had all the things you needed.
No doubt.
A few minor tweaks. If we were there writing it for him and getting him over, he would be a massive star now. Same with Fandango.
Yep. I can't disagree, but to me, that's a guy not to get back over in WWE because he's been exposed too many times. He's got to go to AEW or he's got to go to NWA and get it over if he wants to keep doing that. In NWA, he could do the old school throwback Adrian Adonis stuff. That would work fine there. And even the way he's doing it now in that 2019 Walk the Razor Blade we talked about would be great. But if he goes to AEW, all new gimmick, do the shoots, shit on everything and whatnot, and really make himself. But I just don't see that Prince Pretty stuff getting over in WWE again, man.
No. But he is a talent there, so let's hope him the very best.
Absolutely the best, man. And I know APOC loves working with them, and they're tight. So I'm not shitting on the guy being like, oh, he couldn't get it over. There's tons of things that he could get over if given the opportunity. There's no doubt about that in the right spotlight, But that sucks for Fandango, man. 38 years old, and you got to have that surgery. It's no joke. Kane reveals working with Daniel Bryan was the most fun I've ever had. Legend Kane recently spoke with Sports Illustrated about his time working alongside Daniel Bryan and team. Hell no. In WWE, Kane admitted the two men didn't always agree on things, especially politically. However, the respect they had for each other meant that they never fell out of each other's valued opinions. Brian and I are on such opposite ends of the spectrum, but we respect each other and human beings and value each other's opinions, so we had conversations and we learned from each other. I learned a lot from Brian, even if we didn't always agree. He said, working with Brian was probably the most fun I had in my entire wrestling career. Kane continued, that was because I was working with Daniel Bryan. I can't say enough about the guy and his talent. Kane was a very dark and serious character, but Daniel Bryan changed all that. That was such a refreshing change for me. Very nice. Yeah, a mismatched tag of freak show stuff. When two worlds can combine, you know that magic's in the middle. You did improv with me, man. You were there as one of my test subjects and did a phenomenal job with it, dude.
Well, they do say opposites attract, and those two couldn't be more opposite, could they? One's tall, one's short.
Yep.
One's a high flyer, one's a pound and ground type of guy. One's got an off the wall character. The other one's got a bit more of a grounded character. But they did make it work, and something as simple as going for a hug. You know, you had 20, 30,000 people wanting them to do it just by them teasing the fact that they might do it.
Absolutely,
it was credible.
Absolutely. Are you keeping up with what they're doing with Daniel Bryan now and The Fiend?
Yeah, it's good stuff.
I like it, but there's things that are lackluster, like commitment to the bit. So obviously the beard, full commitment to the bit. They pull him under the ring and they rip his hair out, but he comes back with the buzz cut instead of having patches missing in his head.
Yeah.
You and I never would have allowed that on OVW TV. You would have had the patches in your head.
Yeah.
You know, and how is that like attention to detail, like getting looked over, where it can be picked apart, where you're like, okay, this is our highest level thing, but we're not even really going to do the details how they should be done.
Yeah, even I had my beautiful booth cut off in OVW for storyline reasons to get me out of the storyline.
I've done 3 beard shaves now in the ring, chops, you know, in my career.
Yeah.
This beard's going on. Somebody asked me the other day, and usually my quick answer is like 2 to 3 years. I think this is like a 4 to 5 years. I think 2014 was the last time I shaved it. So this is going on 5 years.
Gosh.
I trimmed it back.
You have that beard versus beard match that you're going to spend 6 months building up towards.
I don't know if there's anybody on the indies got one worthy of it. I am going to be, beating the shit out of the Highlanders this spring, though. So I look forward to that.
Oh, good stuff.
The Street Profits reveal how they were paired together. That's a bait. The Street Profits were my Christmas present has arrived.
Oh, what is it?
It's right there. Can you see or no? Can you just see me, Sil?
Yeah.
Can you hear me, Sil?
Yeah.
Can you see him or no, Twink?
Who is it?
Susio. Can you hear me, bud?
No.
Dude, I'm so fucking hot this morning. Can you guys hear me?
Susio in the house.
Nevins, how are you, buddy?
Susio came to the UK last year and paid me a little visit, which was bloody lovely of him.
That's awesome.
You paid me more of a visit. On my agenda of things I'm hot about, number one is these fucking wireless earbuds.
Yeah.
Things that keep falling out. Oh my God. I got a whole shoot promo already lined up for it.
I'm not sure, Mike. You're a little muddled. I'm not sure on the mic wise or not, if it's on switch on something, but I mean, I can hear you. I'm not too worried about it. And I'll plug, wife number one got me these JBL ones.
Nice.
You know, they're not Mama Joanna or anything like that, but you know, they actually, they have a cord, so they're not fully whatever. So I put it under the beard, but they got the ear gimmicks on because my ears never can hold those goddamn things either.
Yeah, this is an expensive time for you and a great time for you as well, because you get loads of gifts from all the wives.
Yeah.
But you got to spend out those dollar bills, all 273 of them.
That's why I got 3D printers. I just keep printing gifts. I print them all the same thing.
Hey, Ben, I mean, is this nonsense currently being recorded?
Yeah, it's all live.
Tremendous. Well, everybody that was listening to my last show with Schaefer Gage, sorry, my audio sounded like shit. I have a low kind of raspy voice as it is, which makes me a half-decent singer.
Yeah.
But setting up my office, I have some sweet equipment. I just haven't been able to set it up yet. With moving and currently operating on half a brain, it's been a little bit difficult. So I apologize the audio issues I had last week. I hope they're better this week. Can you two at least hear me? All right.
Yeah, you're just
What?
huh?
What?
You can't fuck with him now that he's all concussed and shit. He doesn't get jokes as fast anymore.
No,
Oh, dear. You look after that head.
I
We
told
had
him.
the
Alright.
perfect beard versus beard match there if you'd have looked after your noggin.
Yep.
I know, right?
I told
One
him.
day.
I told him to not do that fucking Tajiri no hands fucking bullshit off the ropes, but he had to keep doing.
haven't.
Had to
Haven't
keep
done
doing.
it. 2007 was my last one.
Oh man. So we're right in the headlines here, but dude, this fuck the headlines. This is what it's about for me. I just said twinkle twinkle little star. Maybe we'll get them on the call, and I figured somebody was getting the Christmas present run, and it was either you on him or him on you, man. So for me, this is all I give a shit about. To get to see you three or us three together means the world to me, because I love you both so much. You're such a big part of all of us, of each other's journey of where we've gone. And every time any one of us succeeds, I know the rest of us are looking at him and being like, damn, I'm so happy for that guy. No jealousy, no hate, and just want for all the best.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, boys. I guess is a good way to start.
Yeah, absolutely.
Merry Christmas
Pull
to you
this
both.
down so we can see me a little bit. Oh shit, man, for sure. And unfortunately, my Cole in your stocking is reading Pro Wrestling Sheets headlines. So
Oh, but at least not Michael Cole.
yeah. First, before we do that, Twink, favorite totally awesome OVW moment. Go for it.
Oh gosh, there's so many of them. I used to. I was a proud owner of a T-shirt, a totally awesome T-shirt.
Well, you
Which was
were
blue.
you were the proud thief of a totally awesome T-shirt, which was my totally awesome T-shirt.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I had a truck wearing that totally awesome T-shirt. We flipped over 3 times, but at the end of it, we still managed to pose for a picture in front of the burnt-out wreckage whilst wearing the totally awesome T-shirt and blood dribbling down my side.
Now that tells you how good our merchandise was. That a truck fucking flipped and caught fire, and our T-shirt and you were the only things to survive, and like 10 other wrestlers.
Even in a car.
No rips in that shirt at all.
Even in a car crash, Totally Awesome has to get their shit in with an extra flip or two.
Still over, still high spot.
Was there not a Romeo and Juliet scene as well portrayed
Yeah.
between you and the Kamikaze Kid?
Yeah, I wrote about it the other day. It's coming in my upcoming book, and there'll probably be a Twinkle Toes story or two in there also.
Oh,
My
Well-
second book.
That's what I was going to say. Susio, favorite Twinkle Toes moment.
Okay, I have 2, but correct me. I can't remember exactly who he was, but I know Twink used to sleep on your couch for quite a while.
Yeah.
Was he the one that pissed in your oven?
No,
after
but
night?
he was there.
that was definitely not me.
It was Von Lilas. Von Lilas pissed in the oven to fuck with us, and then Twink went to make breakfast, and the piss started cooking, and and it was done from there. He pissed on the stovetop as a rib.
My favorite PC Twinkle Toes moment was just us having fun sitting at the commentary desk together. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. He was just learning, but we made a really good commentary duo somehow. And I always had so much fun working with him. My non-PC favorite story.
You can't tell that one.
We'll talk about off air. It just involves a very large slice of pizza.
Oh, okay. I thought I know the one. I thought it was going to be the Brothers of Destruction story there for a minute. I got excited.
You can't tell that one.
I don't know.
Well, actually, I got the DVD right behind me of the first Malibu drink off. The Jack, what's his name?
Jack Bull.
Fearless
Fearless
Jack Bull.
Malibu Invitational.
Album. Do you want to talk about a star-studded event where there was people in the crowd from Impact, OVW, and WWE all at the same time? I mean, that was a locker room sellout right there.
That made it
Yeah,
to
and one of them
DVD.
who's a huge star right now on the main roster of Raw.
Yeah.
Set fire to my Union Jack underpants.
Yeah.
I forgot he was lighting you on fire. I had to keep putting you out. Man,
Did that actually made it to DVD? That
Oh.
Jack Bull event?
I'll put it up on YouTube kayfabe and send it to you.
Yeah. Hey, since you mentioned it, we at least have to tell people what it is because this was a monumental event. So what the Jack Bull Invitational was an annual drinking tournament that thankfully only lasted a few invitationals. And basically, it was one combatant against the other in a drinking contest where random challenges would happen in between. And there was famous dignitaries from the wrestling world that
All over.
came in and out. It was a very kayfabe event, so the public didn't get to consume this. But I do remember at one of those events, one of my favorite stories was the Johnny Punch Peace story, where from about 10 feet away, he pissed in a complete arc onto his opponent in the drinking contest and just hit him right in the face. I've never seen aim on a piss like
Oh
so.
shit.
That gives you listeners an idea of what the Jack Bull Invitational that tells it all.
That is, and that I think actually earned him extra points, Jack Bull points to take it over the edge. Let's see if this is how the Street Profits got together. I mean, we were boys from the start, says Ford. When we got to the Performance Center, my second tryout was where they hired me, and later they put me through acting classes, which Angela Dawkins was in that acting class. So I brought up, so I got brought upstairs, and I think I was six of us that. They thought they were hiring. I remember that day. I thought a bunch of other copy. Holy shit, this is rugged. Forget about it. They were both.
So they got together through acting classes. Then.
Yeah, they were both wearing moccasins and similar gym shorts. Well, that's because they all got to wear the same thing at the Performance Center. This is a weird thing, dude. So I remember sitting up there and they were like, hey, Dawkins is the perfect for both of you. He's wearing moccasins too. And Dawkins was like, yeah, I see that. I remember from that point after I got signed, we kicked it from the jump. Maybe like a year and a half in, Dawkins had a singles match against No Way Jose, and I had a match against Steve Cutler from the Monster Factory. Shout out Danny Cage. I remember immediately after the producers came up to us and said they wanted to put us together, like they were like, okay, that's easy. I know the dude. I was fortunate enough to be put with somebody I know. So I guess it's because they had moccasins and the same clothes on. Not because they're two. Never mind. No, I wouldn't say that. Like, dude.
Two athletic men?
Yeah, two athletic men, gentlemen.
Like, yeah, both with beautiful hairstyles.
Yeah, dude. I mean, do we want to get into the for the culture stuff and what's going on here? Like, that's a weird question to, like, you have to dance around a little bit for that. These guys are, it's interesting to me, man, like, especially with all that stuff with the for the culture that was going on, you know, as ACH burned all bridges in a renowned, you know, shoot 'em up, I guess. But here's Crime Time, dude, you know, the same exact gimmick, kind of. These guys are kind of in between what he wanted with New Day when they first started with the Southern Baptist Choir and the street smart rapping of Crime Time without the gangster. And then now he's dressing them like they're in a parade as a step team, you know, like they're like a marching band look to them or something. So, dude, it's just this watered down black culture where someone said we want the smoke. That was a World Star hip hop line, you know, a year ago, and now it's pop culture with 6-year-olds. I don't know, man. I'm just tired of seeing the black man like turn into a dancing, you know, fool when they've got so much more to offer.
Oh, they are a very entertaining duo, and they have got themselves over quite big. But I just see money on Montez Ford. I mean, huge as a single star. I mean, I think he's going to be the breakout. He's going to be the Bret the Hitman Hart, the Shawn Michaels of the duo, I think.
Yeah, he's got it, man. There's no doubt about their commitment and talent. I just want something high level for them.
I'll jump in those waters with you, Popsy, on this one. I mean, I am of no authority to speak on persons of color or their struggles, their lives, what they experience. I'm a person that views everybody on a human level. I love everybody equally. But with that said, kind of the joke you alluded to with why they put them together, I have seen that happen in a lot of wrestling promotions, a lot of promotions I've worked for, where sometimes some African American gentlemen or women will end up getting placed together. And a lot of times it is because they may be a couple of the only African American people on the roster. And you're right. A lot of times, it is kind of that semi kind of gimmick. It's deep waters to get into talking about this whole thing.
Yeah.
But I do have respect for the movement that I saw coming out, a few weeks ago, and what happened with Kofi Kingston was just extraordinary. But yeah, if I had to guess, that could be one of the reasons why they were put together. But they've done a hell of a job. I do have a little Street Profit story also. I worked with those guys. I
Hmm.
actually had a match with those guys, and tons and tons of charisma. The only thing I will say about them, and it's probably not a secret to everyone, is their greenness did show. To kind of break down that fourth wall, it's the locker room, right? I remember our match was short, man. It was under 5 minutes, and we probably went over it legitimately over 60 times. And just very, very simple match. There wasn't a lot involved. It was the main angle to get Lars Sullivan over, and the Street Profits did a few high spots. So I could tell, that they're still coming up in the biz, that they really, really needed to know exactly what they were doing. So that could be a reason why they have them more talking than going. Maybe they still want them to learn a little bit more as far as workers go. But they were both nice dudes, athletic as hell. So we'll see what happens with them, man. I like them. I like what they've done.
I like them too, man. There is money written all over them, and all three of us. That's one of our talents that we can just look at something and in the first 30 seconds go, this, there it is. It's right there.
You just know if somebody's got it, don't you, or
Yeah.
whether they don't have it.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, and they do, and my thing is not to smack WWE on the wrist for another low level, African American cool black guy thing. But I see these guys. They got Titus O'Neil there. They had something like they could even go off the reality of what happened with ACH or Miles Jordan, whatever you want to call him,
Sure.
and say, all right, then let's show these strong black men as strong black leaders, characters, charismatic. Not just like when we had this will pop you, Abraham Washington come in to do a tryout where we'd all busted our asses for 2 years. He shows up, get gas to the gills, and Rip tells me pull him aside, and I go, bro, Barack Obama is the most over thing. You need to like come back for the tryout and have something just like that, dude. They'll be eating that up. He comes back, does the HNIC promo, dropping N-bombs in front of everybody where we are like, oh, he just cut his fucking throat. Who do they sign? Him and Ryback, big as fuck after all the Benoit controversy where we're testing everybody for everything. They signed the two guys. Ace was there, Johnny Ace, you guys. And then what do they do with them? Put him on ECW as Abraham Washington, Barack Obama 101, dude. Just like, not the shit on that character, but a Titus O'Neil who does Father of the Year stuff. He does all this Make-A-Wish. Like, let him be the inspirational player coach that is pumping these guys up. Like, go get it, young brother. Go get yours and do this. And, oh, they want you to re-sign your contract? Let me see your contract so they don't fuck you over. I know what this guy. Like, show that cool shit, man, of like businessmen, them as lawyers, as educated men, as inspirational dudes. That's what I want to see from them, not just some shuck and jive and hand clap and a get the smoke.
I think the best way to do that will be just having more people of color in more powerful positions. Like a bunch of white guys can't write down lines for somebody with completely different cultures and try to tell them what they're supposed to say. I remember a story. I won't mention names of being at a show one time, and I used to be managed by an African American performer, Mo Green, phenomenal manager. And one day somebody was telling them what they wanted them to say in the promo, and they did it in like a mock, like black person voice. And Mo looked at him and was like, "What the fuck are you talking about? That's not how I talk." But I think they need people of color in the creative team and in positions of power that can kind of, I think they'll probably do a better job putting people in those powerful positions, like you talked about, like the Titus O'Neil idea, if they had a little bit more representation on creative and management levels.
And they wouldn't be running into these problems down the road with the young dudes who came up during all that Ferguson Black Lives Matter stuff, who've got a lot to say about that shit. You know what I mean? A viable complaint. You know, so that's just a Brian Douglas bear trap they can all avoid if they do something on the front end the right way.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see. Triple H, Twink, here you go. Discusses UK independent companies dying. Triple H joined Corey Graves for WWE's After the Bell this week, where he discussed the current state of the UK independent wrestling scene. Many UK independent companies have shut down over the past couple of years, with many conversations being had about NXT UK's role in taking that place. There's something Triple H openly addressed during a recent interview. He says, "I think all of this is important in the feeder system of what the business is. People misunderstood when we went to the UK what we were trying to accomplish there because of the small thinking or short-sightedness. Yes, some of the indies are going to go away." Triple H continued, stating exactly what certain companies have faded away since the rise of NXT UK. The ones that are going to go away are the ones that were paying you $25 when they promised 75. The ones that had a ring that didn't hold up, the ones that didn't have medical there, the ones that didn't care about you. They were just booking you to sell you some tickets and had a little buzz. We wanted to work with the ones that were encouraging them to become better, giving them the guidance, that had the equipment, that had the medical care, and those things were important, and they were the ones that we started to partner with.
I've got to agree with that as well. I mean, you go to so many of these little independent shows, and they'll basically just put a ring up in the middle of a hall and then stick a few chairs around it. They'll invest no money on the lights, no money on like a little bit of a set. They'll just have somebody coming out of like a broom cupboard and enter the ring, and then expect that, you know, to do. People want to be entertained. They want to go to a show. They don't want to just feel like they're sitting in a hall and having a couple of fat blokes in a ring rolling around. Especially when you can see great stuff on the television as well.
That's
Boys, I can speak from experience because I was literally there during the UK boom and the WWE expansion and all of this taking place. So I was a first-hand participant and observer. The UK scenes started to become the hottest or one of the hottest in the wrestling world. It was a cross between the business New Japan was doing, business the UK was doing, and obviously bigger business that we're always doing here in the States. So what you had was a lot of really quality wrestlers and a lot of really quality indie shows. And the guys were getting what I would call a decent wage as far as their payday. It was less than I felt they deserved, a lot of them, but it was decent. But we'll say this: as a foreign talent, I was making more than a lot of their English competitors that should have been at least making what I was, and I wasn't making a ton of money or anything like that. So I agree in some aspects that the money there wasn't great. However, the shows were great. There was a lot of great companies. And if you manage yourself correctly, and after a decent booking rate, you can do pretty well for yourself.
Hey Sue, sorry, I'm just having a little trouble hearing you, bud.
Okay, sorry. From what I saw there, a lot of the guys were upset because the boys, even the boys that have been in the UK team for years helping build it, would get upset a lot of times because they would make a so-so wage, but the foreigners would get brought in, the Americans would get paid more. So there was always a lot of heat with that. But I did watch it all happen. And WWE did to them what they did to the territories in the 80s. They pretty much wiped them out. They gobbled up about every top performer they could sign and some promising rookies. So now on the UK team, there are still some good workers out there, but the majority of them are under WWE contract, and now they cost more money to book. So a lot of these indies can't afford all that, and there's less tape to go through. My promotion in Europe, I use talent. I have a working relationship with NXT UK, and you have to go through a process to make that happen. And a lot of people aren't willing to do that process. It's more costly. There's a lot more involved. So literally what happened there was what Vince did in the 80s to every promotion in America. So we just saw it over 3 years.
Well, I mean, we saw it firsthand. There's definitely something to be said for both sides of what you're talking about. Twink, I get it, of like shindies running, but from the boys' point of view, and that's me. Like, I try not to work too many shindies, or if they're a low level indie, I'm going to do my best to try and bring them up to an OVW level that I can. Within budget, and making something out of nothing sometimes, and some promoter tricks. But here's the thing, by shutting them down, you just fuck the boys out of another payday. I'd rather work Friday and Saturday instead of just working one Saturday a month if I can, right? So, yeah, there's shindies, but that's guys getting reps in the ring. Who cares if they're in front of, if they're in Hogtown, like we ran those shows and there'd be 25 people, But like, so there's heat there, and Game can try and play it off of like, well, they don't have the medical this or that, and there's shits and they'll run. Yeah, they may be, and that is true, but let's call it for what it really is, because we saw this firsthand. They're not going to shut OVW down because it's too big of a monster. But fucking, they came in, him and Sean came in and Kern, and they took 360-degree pictures of the place. They looked right in our face and go, OVW's going nowhere as a WWE developmental. You guys will always be. You made so many stars. 6 weeks later, they pull up stakes, everybody leaves, and we get handed the main show. So thanks for that, Game. But, like the reality of saying one thing, this is the worker shit. There was a market of real territories that was built in the UK. They came in, signed all the top talent that they could, and that's going to instantly take away from the mid-card guys being able to work top indie talent, and there goes your lower level shows. They're just not going to draw at all. So that's going to fleece them all. That's really what happened from a true indie versus the man perspective, because 2CW was that versus them in a war. When they come to Syracuse, 2CW chants are taking over WWE shows, and because it's a real territory that we had built that they couldn't fuck with that leftover ECW crazy New York audience. So go ahead.
Go ahead. I've got some inside scoop on that too, when the locker room. Basically, what they did was that the Americans colonized the UK wrestling. I was there. I was brought in to work for the Night Cable Center,
yeah.
WAW. And they had a great deal worked off with this place called Epic Studio to produce their television show. And I think a few things. They had some bigger names on the card. I remember guys like Scott Hall were around. Even Rey Mysterio was matched against the Canadian. Like, they brought in a lot of really good wrestlers, and this was like a big budget thing. And WAW runs that town north. Like what you see in the movie is true.
Yeah.
They are the wrestlers. They're like the Hearts of Calgary are the nighttime they know. There was some kind of heat because a couple weeks before or after one of their tapings at the studios in North, WWE NXT arranged to have their taping this day. So it was, one of those stepping on someone else's territory things. The Knight family was furious about it. It created a lot of bad blood between a lot of people. In my eyes, maybe they saw them as potential major competitors to some of what they're wanting to do, and there's going to be a lot of wrestling fans in that market. Perhaps WWE wants those fans in their pocket. I don't know, but yeah, they're definitely taking over quite a bit of the scene there, for better and for worse.
Yeah, and what's strange to me too, and I'm not trying to hate on any of our brothers and sisters who are workers there, but the other part of that key is, I'd say maybe in what I've seen, 30 to 40% tops of everybody they signed would have got signed in the U.S. Though a lot of the UK workers that they signed would have had no chance in hell of getting signed if they were from over here, because that's the other proof that we're just eating up the territories, is like a fucking beat you down type thing. So guys can up their indie rates, so you can't afford them. You might have paid them $25 last month, but now you're going to pay them $250. Well, fuck, I can't afford the four guys at $1,000 that I paid $100 for. Well, now that they got a WWE stamp on them, so I'm fucked, and I don't have any workers. So we're shutting down, man. And that's all the real play. Kudos to all our brothers and sisters who got jobs off it, but the reality is that's 40 or 50, percent that you really aren't WWE level to have that brand on you yet. Unfortunately, it's not your fault.
Hmm?
Yeah, yeah. A lot of the boys are making a living, so
Yeah.
I'm very happy for them with these contracts. They're able, like, Martin knows the UK economy better than I do. But a lot of these boys are able to make a living wage off of wrestling now through WWE, which previously was hard to do in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
And you do have that positive aspect, but it definitely has killed the independent scene that was once so hot.
What do you think, Twink? Big Hameen and Twink coming back for the tag team championships at UK. I don't think anybody can beat us.
We'll get that big boot in the ass. We'll be knocking them down flat. There are quite a few promotions in the UK and Scotland and Ireland and stuff that have got real fanatical fan bases, and they are still thriving. And they get some of these WWE talents on their shows every now and again as well. But they've really given the people a good night of entertainment. They've put on the lights. They've put on a great entrance. They've put on the theatrics that go along with the wrestling industry. They've got that following now. And now they're developing their own stars as well, and they're bringing them through. So there's 2 or 3 that are doing the right thing, and there were lots that were doing the wrong thing. The people that were doing the right thing are thriving, despite what WWE are doing in the UK at the moment. And I think what WWE in the UK are doing at the moment is a great thing.
How about
really
that? How about those awesome pictures of package put up from that show in the cave?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that just looked like, I mean, that's
Incredible.
better than WrestleMania, in my opinion. When are you going to get an opportunity to do that, man? Wrestling in the cave with the stalagmites and shit. Like, that was just unbelievable in there, dude.
Yeah, and they've got a rabid following of fans that are passionate about their little brand, and they take ownership for it. And those people, they're going to stay loyal to that brand.
Well, I hope they do, and they really push it. Go ahead, buddy.
That's what I wanted to ask you, is, are they? Because I remember the UK indie fans were rabid indie fans, and they loved it. Are you seeing from the fans there? Are they sticking to the NXT UK brand as like, this is our team, this is our, like they do with the football club? Are the fans there solidly behind the brand?
I'm not sure if you can hear him or not as well. You're still a bit muddled, Sue. But he said, are the NXT fans that were the indie fans sticking to the NXT UK brand as rabid as they are to like their football clubs and whatnot to, just say, hey, these are our guys, we made them, and we're going to support them no matter what.
Oh, very much. I think you'll find that. I mean, the best Raw of the year is the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. And that's because 50% of the audience is made up by English fans going to America and being part of that crowd. It's no secret that the reason why WWE set up a base in the UK is because of that passion people have. It's the football fan mentality. People will die for their football team. They'll really go above and beyond. They'll wear their colours, they'll be passion. And the wrestling fans, they're probably football fans as well. They carry that passion through.
Okay.
Awesome, man. Let's see here. Major 6-man tag team announced for next week's AEW Dynamite, and you can hear Chris Silvio featured with MSG 12 gauge Matt Schaffer on here at hackerhameen.podbean.com every week, giving the AEW Dynamite review, and we'll have a sweet sound set up for you soon enough. From Susio. AEW has announced a huge 6-man tag match for its homecoming episode of next week's AEW Dynamite. Returns on New Year's Day after having a week off for Christmas yesterday. AEW Dynamite returns on the 1st of January for a huge edition of the show in a major 6-man tag. The Bucks will be teaming with Kenny Omega to take on the Lucha Brothers and Pac. Wow, that is big. In what should be an amazing get your shit in match. Yeah, man, that is big to come back. They're going to need something to wave the wand because a rough week for our brothers in AEW selling for the internet. Just having to take it. What the real thing is, these guys were the trolls of the business. And then when they get trolled back, we shut it down. Not a good look, man. Not a good look. Twink, what are you thinking? You watching AEW, bro?
Yeah, I have been watching it, and I am a little bit disappointed. I was super excited about it. I thought it was going to be a real alternative, and I thought names like Kenny Omega, loved all over the world. Especially he had that sort of mystique about him, and I thought if they'd have kept him strong, kept him as like a main star, made a big deal of him being on telly, then he could have been one of the biggest stars in the world. But they just seem to have had him coming out having 40-minute matches with people you would consider to be mid-card, and then losing a lot of them as well, to the point where it's like, well, he's obviously not as special as what I thought he was. I think they've lost the mystique about him and the Bucks in a very short time. Whereas if we'd have been booking it, they'd have been strong, they'd have been used sparingly, and they'd have been like, wow, we got to tune in tonight because we want to see him.
Yeah.
Now it's like, well, they're on, but...
Well, they wanted to do that. They wanted to do that. Let's book ourselves under so we don't get the blowback of saying, see, they just wanted a Fed to make themselves champs. So they were trying to do what they thought was the right thing, but instead it's really hurt their star power. I would have kicked it off with a full year. I would have redone Cody and Spears right out of the gate, just like we watched it as the next chapter of that. Sue, you're our resident pro on this, man. What are you thinking on this Big Six, man? That's a huge match right there.
Yeah, you can't go back in time. You can only go forward. Twinkle Toes, I did cover a lot of the points you made about Omega's questionable booking, and I agree with that. They need a big match this week to get them out of that. Wrestling fans, thank God, can be forgiving and so excited. So I think if the boys give them something good this week, eventually with wrestling news, in a month they're going to forget about the Phantom Punches and some of the other stupid shit that is taking place. So they just need a strong week of TV this week. I thought it was a mistake personally for them not to do a pre-recorded show that aired on Christmas.
Me too.
I don't know why. People may disagree with me, but I feel like they should have had representation on Christmas. But they need to come out swinging. I'm a big fan. And to talk about what you were saying though about the trolling and everything, it's weird. Like I kind of stand in the middle of that. Like, correct, those punches that were thrown were horrendous. And stuff like that should get said. Like when Jeff Hardy missed looks in the wind up to the hall, that kind of thing. And that should be so. What's funny about that is I think the guy that outed himself was Eric Cannon, a very experienced indie worker who's been working a long time and is pretty damn good.
I think that's a work, dude. I think that's a work.
You think so?
I think he just wanted to fucking be like, get his name out there and like, who is that masked man? It was me. Any good heel,
well,
right?
If it's a work, then I don't know. If it's a work, then good for him. But what I would have told him was, work on your punches, because as a wrestler, listen, discussion, whatever you want to say for the legend, as a professional wrestler, you need a working punch. If you can't throw a working punch at somebody without hurting them, you need to go back to training. You need to go to Rick Rogers training.
Yeah.
A lot of these newer kids that I would beat on the summit, when I would say, okay, here's according to the match where we're going to do punches, what do you do? You can't punch. I don't know how to punch. That was the first thing I would tell them. Everyone goes through forearms. If in a fist fight in a bar, no one's going to come at you with the forearm. In pro wrestling, there's a place for forearms. But every wrestler that steps in the ring, I train all my students that you need to throw working punches. Was it the biggest deal? No. People are going to want to shit on AEW because it's new and it's different. So have their fun for a few weeks. But yeah, any wrestler, work on those damn punches. And Dan, I know you were super hot about the Tony Khan incident.
Yeah, I want. You just called me right at the end of the other show, so I came in real hot, and they cut it up for Hameen Media, and I was like, oh shit, I was maybe went too far, even for me. But yeah, dude, that Tony Khan stunner, and like we predicted with the Orange Cassidy selfies and that shit that he'd do some tag, dude, to come in and do that, where they even try and say it's dark. There is no such thing as dark in 2019 in the age of social media. What if you ask anybody, what do you know about AEW last week? No one's gonna say anything from the TV show, except for the go home with the shitty phony punches, Tony Khan giving a stunner, and the Young Bucks unplugging from Twitter. And that's not a good look, unfortunately, man. And I hope this match gets their numbers to come back in, because their numbers are dwindling. They started at 1.4 million. They were at 683,000 last week. That's 52% drop. Not good, man. And here's the thing, and I think we can all maybe attest to this because we were all in charge of the book at OVW at one time, and all producers. And when you're worrying about guys who you know are green going to TV, which they got a lot of indie guys who are green there going to TV, you're trying to micromanage their shit and you forget about your own. Like it's like, all right, I got to go out in 2 minutes. I haven't even thought about what the fuck I'm doing yet. So, I think the biggest thing that they have to overcome, and whether it's me, us three, Josh and Steve from 2CW, who helped make the Bucks, help make a lot of those guys, a lot of AEW is based off of 2CW work, in my opinion. So with New Japan too, until they can say, bros, we got to give this over to people that have our best interests so we can get back to doing what we do, which is be stars. Their star power is going to suffer immensely, dude, immensely. And I think we've seen that. There's only a handful of guys left who aren't the sharks that'll come in and snatch that con money like an Eric Bischoff did with Dixie, like you need guys who are that they've gone down the road with, that their pure interest is not me getting on TV as Ben Hameen. It's getting the Bucks back to the fucking being unbelievable ribbers, talking shit to WWE to make them sell. You know what I mean? They need to be doing all that tightening the screws. They're not doing any of that stuff. They're just going out and having matches with Meltzer drivers and putting guys over who no one's ever heard of, thinking that's how you make somebody. No. Look at what we did with Lumpy Magoo. all character till one thing. And even go back, I get what you were saying too, Susie. I didn't want to gloss over this on the Mo Green thing, because big respect for Mo Green too. But the fact of not being able to write in a, African-American voice, not being African-American, I can definitely get that, sentiment. But then when it comes to writing stereotype, I just go with common ground, where we wrote the Grape Drink Connection for Triple R and Debo, which was all stereotypes. So if you're going to push it, you got to go full with it, which I think they kind of are with the Kabuki Warriors at this point. They're going straight off with it. So, to roundabout in that way, it's about character. And on a Christmas Day show, AEW missed a huge opportunity to do a show all based around character, to intro these players to people to come back next week and build this match, instead of just people hearing about it on the sheets and on the internet.
And I want to love it. I want to really love it. I go in every week thinking, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to enjoy this, and I want to love it. It's only little things that make me not love it so much as I should be. I mean, I love Cody. Cody, what an amazing guy he is. I mean, he spoiled us rotten. Mm-hmm. I mean, I owe the guy about 4 meals. He never let me pay once.
Nope.
And such a lovely, humble guy that was always there and full of wisdom, and he knows what he's doing. But, he needs somebody writing his stuff for him and let him get out there. I mean, he's doing good stuff now, but they need people writing the stuff for him, having one common focus, one direction, pushing ahead with a message, building long term. I'd have Omega and Jericho building towards this time next year.
Sure.
And just build. Don't let them touch each other. Build, because that could be massive money.
Why do you keep saying Omega? Who the fuck is Omega?
That's the British accent.
You never played that video game, Omega Man?
No.
That was a good one.
Lucio.
He doesn't even go by Susio anymore. He goes by Silvio. That was the worst fucking gimmick change in the history of wrestling.
Let me bookend this AW thing. I think Cody should continue writing. I think Omega and the Bucks should continue writing. But they need a party that's non-affiliated with the show.
Yeah.
Because I know how it is as a producer. On my TV tapings and stuff we do in Italy, I have to produce 13 matches and answer 1,300 questions. And then I have to worry about my match, which I usually do 2 matches on each set of tapes. And I can't even begin to wrap my head around my match until maybe an hour before it's supposed to take place. So as a performer, my matches suffer. Thankfully, I've had so much experience and I know how to feel an audience that I can still make these magic moments out there where I don't need 3 hours to talk about how many flips we need to do and a stupid sequence. We can more target the heartstrings, that's more the storytelling aspect of wrestling that I know. But they need that unbiased party that can tell them, hey, look, guys, like, this shit ain't cool. This doesn't nah, don't go with this one. I think the Bucks have done a good job with the tag division. I like the tag division other than the way they book themselves. There's a lot of great things going on. But yeah, they definitely need that
But that
involved in matches.
Yeah.
To kind of go through this.
To get back to your point though, that voice, that one where we're not boys and we're not collecting checks. We need to protect what we're building here. That voice, whoever it wasn't and needs to be, whether it's Hacker Hameen or whoever, it should have said Khan ain't going out there to give nobody no stunners.
Let's argue about that. I want to talk about that. I can't wait to. I was excited about the next time we see. In hindsight, after we digested it, this is why I'm going to love working with you because you're the same, but so different. I'm okay with this Tony Khan stunner thing. I slept on it, and I decided I'm okay. How does that make you feel?
I mean, it just exposes him of being far too close. Dude, when you watch the ref and the chick ref jump up like, oh, and do the indie cell and everybody's putting it over, and then he needs a hand to get up off the mat after a tink. Like, dude, it reminds me of every birthday party show, every indie, every match I've ever done with the principal or the DJ who doesn't know how to do anything, and we have to go over the stunner X amount of times, and I'll say here. That if you want to do the spot with those guys, that's fine. When you're trying to be Vince, when you're trying to be not look like a money mark to do that, I'm sorry, man. That's to me. It really exposed that he's only there to hang out with the PWG guys that he marked out with, so he can pay to be buddies with them now instead of running the best and most real wrestling company that will compete with WWE after that. Like, not a good look in my opinion, man.
You're right in the fact that it was that thing that you feel like when you involve the high school coach in an event or local high school or something. The stunner spot, we've all seen it 1,000 times. So that's nothing new, and indie crowds are used to that. Like, PWG has done spots with like Macaulay Culkin and shit.
Yeah, and Dick Justice.
Yeah, it's part of that weird hipster, new kind of wrestling fan culture that they like. Had it been on television, I would share a lot more of the sentiment. But with it being not even on AEW Dark, I think it's par for the course of what we see on the Indies. AEW is becoming an extension of the Indies and hopefully learns how to use great things about the Indies, but learn how to turn them in.
You can't walk out of the roast when Mark Madden calls you a money mark and be all butthurt, and then 2 weeks later you're doing boot kick stunner. Like it's not going to be seen by the world, man. Like I get what you're saying, and that they are tapping into that indie stuff, but dude, and here's my other postulate too. And it's locker room. I'm going to talk about it. Fuck it. I know when they first wanted to bring him in, that some of the guys in the vice president squad were against bringing in Sean Spears, which is ridiculous in all of our minds because we know he's a fucking ring general when it comes to at Ziggler level of getting anybody over. And we saw the him and Cody thing. And I heard Cody went to bat for him with Khan saying, no, this is happening or else I'm not happening, So like some real true blue Cody shit like we would know. Now, think about that. If guys are against him in the locker room and they butt up to Khan and go, yeah, dude, you should do the stunner spot. He does it on Spears. Spears isn't going to rock the boat. He's going to do what he needs to keep his paycheck. But at the same time, guys might have done that just to make him look buried and be a part of it. Now, this is just us high-level wrestling cutthroat bullshit, hypothetical. But I just look at the things that are in play and how teams form up in the locker room to get business done or get a fuck you back over. And maybe that's a little bit of it too, a little part of it. I don't know, man. Just something.
You think that the political waters should be that deep?
Have you not seen that and things more petty than that in the past? Are you not seeing?
Fuck yeah. But what they're trying to do is be the generation. Our generation, thankfully, I've been in a lot of locker rooms over the last 10 years. Have been the least petty generation in a while. So I think one of the things about AW that they're touting is like, hey, we're giving the boys insurance. We're trying to be that kind of company that's not going to be carny and they're the more laid back, like you don't have to worry about as much politics. But in wrestling, there's always politics. They might be right. I don't know.
Yeah.
You come up with these wild theories.
I don't think Khan would be in on it. I think he'd just be a puppet in there for somebody who's got a higher agenda, who knows that they could do that. Now that none of that could be true, I just look at the players and I look what I know in the past and I see the thing and go, well, if I don't say it out loud, then I'm doing a disservice. You know what I mean? Because what if? And a lot of time on Russo brand, my what ifs become reality. So unfortunately. But
I got an opposite town. I'm telling you, you live in Jacksonville. I live in Clearwater area. It's not too far from you.
Yeah.
Myself and a well-known wrestler named Matt Seidel. Same wrestlers out here. We are probably the two best places in the state of Florida. And two of the best in the world. If you ever want to learn wrestling, learn that stuff, maybe have a match one day that you can be proud of, and talk to it.
That's right, dude. That's who I'd actually have training with. You're, obviously way more jacked, but, same size-wise to teach them. There'd be nobody better. All Elite Wrestling's going back to the Prudential Center on Newark, New Jersey on March 25th. This is notable for more reasons than just being the promotion's first event in New York area, but because WWE has run the venue almost every year dating back to 2009. It's become a usual part of the annual touring schedule, and WWE has thus far been able to keep AEW out of their frequented venues. Cody tweeted, "Thank you, Prudential Center, for bypassing politics and nonsense and just giving the Jersey/New York fans what they want. I can't wait." Interesting, because that's kind of got to stooge off politics and bullshit from some other deals that they had to try and do, where WWE said, you're not fucking working with them, or we're never going to work with you again. So without saying it, you know what I mean? Some other bullshit's gone down, which is just, simple strategy in the wars that you're in. What are you thinking, Twink?
Well, interesting stuff, isn't it? And I mean, they do have a big stranglehold over a lot of the venues because they do bring in the money. They do bring in the revenue. Mm-hmm. They put bums on the seats, don't they? So it's just going to be quite an interesting thing. And of course, Madison Square Garden was always their home for so many years, and yet we've seen other promotions put on shows there as well in recent memory too.
Yeah, man, for sure. ROH and NWA drew 65,000, I think, in there, right? For their pay-per-view buy too. So that was a good one out of there. Still, covert moves being made business side, and Cody giving a little bit there. What are you thinking for New York, New Jersey? You think they'll try and come in over the top after that as like another fuck you to try and do something?
They gotta be careful. What it's reminding me of is Jim's private promotions around 1988.
Yeah.
Where they're walking that line now where they can stay and become a real power or help make some money so they can make their own new food product. I kind of like their original strategy that they were kind of staying around one region. I can't tell them what to do. Maybe it's a good idea. Maybe it isn't. But we saw what happened with ATP. And to this day, a lot of the top clubs, like where the Crockett would have stuck to the Mid-Atlantic area, he'd still be in business, be doing great houses. And so I don't know. It remains to be seen. But to continue another storytelling chapter, when I got on today, I was talking about my wireless earbuds. I've already lost one of them yesterday.
I feel like I'm half deaf because you're pretty muddled. I'm trying to lip read as well as I can, so I'm not trying to bust your chops or anything.
That's that beard. He's talking through the beard. He's got the microphone hidden in the beard. That's why we need this beard versus beard match. Get it off.
Oh, yeah.
Versus Vince in 1988.
Yeah, man, I think they could learn a lot from the mistakes of territories going out of business that fucked with them at that time, for sure. WWE's looking to add a third podcast to their new family of weekly shows as part of their partnership with Endeavor Audio, which already includes a series with Corey Graves and New Day. The former WWE Women's Champion Alexa Bliss is expected to be the host of the third WWE podcast, according to the report from PW Insider, and the Goddess is set to record the pilot episode soon. I mean, she's all right on the mic for X amount of time, but if she's not doing a smarmy thing, what's the focus going to be? usually most podcasts need a hook. I don't see her shooting bang bang on the industry. Maybe it'll be something entertainment TV related. But you know, her sitting down is not showing the best side. So I think what WWE really needs to do is not just say to buy myself out, but they need to be able to take hard criticism like this and put it on their network, and even talking shit on AEW or whatever, whether it's Russo brand, that's what's really going to do it. Because these lip service podcasts, in my opinion, like Corey Graves is, where they do little faked work shoots, aren't really going to do anything to draw new subscribers to the brand.
Hey, I changed earbuds. Is my microphone a little bit
you're
better?
Perfect now. You're perfect.
Oh, he's had a shave.
It was these new fucking high dollar wireless earbuds that just got me so hot this morning. So sorry about the first half of that interview.
It's
guys.
all good, man. You know, I rehash where you can what we do there, but all your points were made.
Yeah, good. Sorry, I missed half of the Alexa Bliss stuff while I was.
She's got a new podcast on their WWE podcast thing behind Graves and New Day, which is all just lip service stuff. I think they really need to go for the throat and not hire their own people. They can have their own people for the fluff, but you got to have a Russo. As much as I hate to put over Satin, you got to let Satin go and do his thing if you got him already. That's going to help your other show on Fox that you're trying to do stuff with. You know, they could control. They won't control it, but if they were just able to take the criticism of the sheets and the marks and put it under their umbrella, now they run the sheets, you know? So like they're just skirting around what they really need to do, I think.
Those don't interest me. I listen to tons of podcasts. I haven't listened to one of those and probably won't. I might give it a chance sometime. I like Corey Graves. I think he's phenomenal talent on the mic.
Yeah.
But I know it's always going to be biased. There's no way that it's ever going to be a completely honest forum, not forearm. So I can't do it. I'm not with it. I'm not about that life.
Twink, I could see you having an NXT UK podcast on there. I absolutely could. I thought of that when I first saw they were starting to do that. I think there's a good niche for you to jump in there, bro.
Well, if there's a pool, I'll jump into it. I'll be wearing my Speedos at the time.
Just make sure you get over the...
do, though, with some of the talent they've got now is utilize it outside the ring. Yeah. And like a lot of their talent have got their own following. So like a lot with the divas, a lot of the younger girls will probably be tuning into that. So they're going after maybe the young female audience. Like with the New Day, they've got the young children audience. So they're trying to get the youngsters involved on the podcasting world as well, rather than going for your standard 18 to 30 demographic.
I don't think that's gonna fly though. I don't think that's gonna go, man. I mean, podcasts are working for people at work and driving and whatnot, to get a little kid to sit in the pocket, maybe to talk some stuff with New Day on video games, but I just don't see it. And I think they're going to have to switch again. And I like Corey Graves too, man. I think a good look, and he can get some Jesse Ventura stuff in, and a little Heenan, not obviously the same way, but he can make it his own. But there's Stooge there too, because it was Stooge to me that his brother is a great talent and isn't really getting a shot because bringing his brother in because he's worried of getting heat that will affect his job residually. So there's all this weird shit even still in the politics where I lay out those little weird scenarios like, no way could it be that. Well, here's a guy that won't go to bat for his brother because of X amount of issue, you know?
This is the thing in wrestling. This is the locker room. So we'll share a little bit of knowledge that a lot of wrestlers have heard. And to our fans out there, in professional wrestling, it's a lot of times it's seldom who you know, but it is who's willing to say that they know you. That's the hardest part about getting to the next level of professional wrestling. There's a case right there of somebody reluctant about their own brother. That's how murky the political waters can get on high-level wrestling, such as WWE.
Yeah, when you got your own spot, you have to put on your bulletproof vest, because not that you don't love your brother, but that's open target for somebody to F you over both ways, which means you already probably have heat with somebody, so you're a little bit paranoid, or you've seen that, you know? So very
I think
strange.
his brother's kind of wild. Like, I think he's had a little bit of heat around Mexico and the UK. I think he's he's a little bit wild. He's a good worker.
Yeah, I heard he's an awesome worker. He actually stood out above everybody on the show I heard him from. So
yeah. But I don't think the podcasting network is gonna do much for guys like us. Who knows? Maybe the hardcore WWE fans will like it, but I'm interested to see the numbers when and if they release them.
Yeah, I don't think they will on that, man. But as a way to draw new people to the network, forgive me, but I don't feel like the Alexa Bliss podcast is going to get people signing up left and right. Top New Japan stars sign new contracts. Tanahashi, the ace of New Japan, an 8-time IWGP heavyweight champion, is slated to face Chris Jericho on the night of Wrestle Kingdom 14, so he's resigned. And Yuji Nagata has signed as well. Nagata is 51 years old and slowed down in recent years. He still works the undercard tag team matches on most tours and is hands-on with many New Japan Young Lions and up-and-coming talents. You get a chance to work with Nagata ever on anything or any seminar, Sue?
I didn't, man. The Japanese wrestling scene, I'll be honest, is not necessarily in my wheelhouse unless it was like the 80s and early 90s stuff.
Yeah.
As a performer, I've had a history of concussion issues until recently now that I can't wrestle any longer and have really changed my life. But that was one of the reasons why I never really pursued a career in Japan. I know with their style, they do a lot of high impact things and there's a lot of things that happen onto your head. So to be perfectly honest, I just knew my body wouldn't hold up there. So it was never something I really aspired to do. But I think it's incredible that Jericho at his age is still out there doing business. Never got to work with Yuji. I've seen a lot of his work. He's good. I remember him as a kid in WCW. And it's always awesome to see a brother at 51 years old making money. Like, look at the Rock and Roll Express now, still making money.
Tim Storm.
Cool as hell for them, man.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I was pumped to see that number too. I was like, okay, if he can still hang in on that style, I can wave a flag for a little bit longer.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
I'm looking, hopefully, this spring after Mania, because we're looking to get booked down there and do some things together to make that UK and maybe Japan split the month in half. So I'll be talking to both of you guys to get advice on that. And our friend Old Adler's a big follower of the UK independent scene, goes to all the shows, knows Package, all those guys, man. So
very cool.
I definitely need both of you guys input on all that. Couple more here. We got the Revival continues to tease a match with Harlem Heat. The top guys, the Revival, have continued to tease a tag team match with Harlem Heat in the upcoming Royal Rumble. The duo intentionally called out Harlem Heat during the TLC pre-show. The two teams did have some back and forth on social media that night. Scott Dawson has now continued, stating that they might have set the table, but they're now sitting at the head of it, teasing the match already at the Royal Rumble. There's a graphic for it, so it's probably, unless they photoshopped it. Yeah, the Revival, man, I liked the Brainbuster stuff originally, and now the comedy's kind of gone too far. I don't know if they're just doing the nostalgia pop here or not, but this match does have some draw to it, not because of who they're facing, but because people want to see Harlem Heat back in the ring together, and Booker T stays in ring shape, as you've seen through his Facebook Lives from his training studio, man.
Well, I could dig that match, definitely. With the right build and with the right momentum. I think they've already done it brilliantly on the kickoff show. They had that little altercation, which came across really quite well. That made me, that planted the seed in the head, which is what you want. Keep planting more and more seeds and then watch that flower flourish, and then it'll be a match you want to see. I
agree. And I don't want the Revival just to become comedy boobs, even though we saw the dude trip on the way out, fall on his ass. They did the run in on the Baron Corbin thing and just had strikes almost as bad as the kid from AEW, to be honest with you. They're some of the most rotten kicks I'd seen. And I'm going from top guys. And then they even tried to take business into their own hands and cut promos, pretending they were rich from the hotel lobby. Unfortunately, the hotel looked like a La Quinta and the cleaning guy was in the background. So, are they really going to invest in these guys and get them over? I think, some legend killer stuff, Harlem Heat and some other tag teams could really do good business to get the Revival back on top as top heels, where we really need top heels, not comedy goofs.
Yeah.
Sucio, you were in No Way Jose's Conga Line. What was that like for you? No sell.
He's back. He got back to the line.
I know. He's wrapping up, boys. We can take it home. No, he's on with somebody else on the line. Sami Callihan. Oh, he did a jump. Sami Callihan reveals the reason behind why he quit WWE NXT. The current Impact Heavyweight Champ Sami Callihan recently spoke with Alex McCarthy of TalkSport about why he left NXT. Callihan worked in Full Sail under the name Solomon Crow, working with WWE from 2013 to 2015, but he never really managed to make any real impact. He says, I quit NXT because I was complacent. I wasn't happy collecting a paycheck and just becoming a toy on the shelf. He said, I saw myself as a top guy. Everybody's a top guy, apparently. I saw myself as a top guy, and I had to go out and prove it, and I've done just that. As soon as I got there, I wanted to change everything about me, or they did. I knew it wouldn't work. I could have sucked it up and probably been on Raw or SmackDown right now, but I'm not complacent to be the third or fourth guy. I want to be the top guy, and I've been able to do that. I've been proven that a normal white kid from Ohio can become the face of the company when that's not the norm, because I connect with people. Can't disagree with that at all. Worked, a lot of shows with Sami and 2CW and was able to work on a lot of ideas and bring out the best in him. And I'll come back around. What do you guys think? Sami Callihan in Impact, I think, is kicking ass, about to make history, dropping the title probably to Tessa. Hopefully they do it the right way.
Oh, he's a hell of a talent. And I've seen many, many of his matches. He can get it done in the ring. He's got good facials, good ability. He can connect with an audience. I've got to be honest, I haven't watched Impact in the last year and a bit.
Yeah.
Is it worth retuning into, do you reckon?
Dude, Impact is the best show. Impact is the best wrestling show right now that there is, creatively. Doing inside ribs, doing matches with young talent the right way, using ECW nostalgia guys, showing tits and ass, doing PG-13 that WWE can't do, doing ribs for the boys. They have the best show on wrestling right now that nobody is really watching, to be honest with you. Because how many what's that?
I have to give it a try. Every time I've given it a try in the past, I felt disappointed.
They did Wrestlers Court 2 weeks ago, and it was awesome. It was good.
I'm back now. I lost you guys for a minute.
Well, I got you. I mean, the thing we were talking about is Sami Callihan. You talking about why
I heard that. I heard that part. I just wanted to make sure you guys could hear me.
Yeah, I got you, bud. Go ahead.
Yes, Sami. I think he made the wise decision of his career to get out of WWE and go make his name. And obviously, he's been working on top at Impact. However, I think, in just my one man's opinion, I think the choice of him to go so headstrong into Impact kind of hurt his buzz a little bit, because you do hear about him a lot on Impact and he's doing good work, but you don't hear his name any longer being mentioned in the same breaths as some of those higher level independent talents that are all over. So I think while he got to work on top and hopefully made more money, I think it's cooled him off quite a bit as a name. And I know he had some controversy last year as well come up. I don't know how much of that you went into on this program, but I think he's capable of a lot, but I feel like he has cooled off a bit over the last year, despite the awesome matches he's having in his run on top.
That's interesting to me, because I don't see him as that, but maybe I'm too close because of 2CW. I think he did a lot for the OVE and the Ohio stuff that they were trying to do with Rockstar, where they got Madman Fulton in there. That guy's got a great look, and obviously the Chris brothers, done plenty with them, and he's with Havoc, and she's got a good spot now. I'm surprised they haven't brought in Nevaeh. But when it comes back to this Solomon Crow thing, I was pumped about it because Sammy and I were tight enough. I wrote him just like Twink we did for so many guys. I sat down and I wrote that 6-8 weeks of TV. We did that for Idol. We did it for the Spirit Squad. We've done it for so many, just to them to kick it back to creative, and he liked it. It was going to be a thing all based on the hacker Solomon Crow type stuff, Mr. Robot, and where he hacks NXT, and there's drones and there's getaway cars, and it's all just him fucking with Triple H, Yeah. And he really liked it, submitted it, Game liked it, got it, but he goes, we just can't do that here. And it was about 3 weeks after that the writing was on the wall that there's going to be nothing of that sort. And then Impact comes out with kind of the same thing, anonymous, Well, I can't remember what the name of the click was called, but they did it like at 30-40% of how I wrote it. So James Storm and those guys were in it. Mike Kingston and all that.
Yeah.
I can't remember what that was called, that click. But yeah, man, the thing with Sami is Sami's one of the few guys who knows what's cool right now. I'm not talking like pop culture trends. I'm talking about the reality of being a badass son of a bitch in 2019 and spitting in the face of whoever it is you need to. And not a lot of guys know how to do that or can do that. And Sami specializes in that. So whatever is the coolest thing in wrestling is usually coming out of his mouth, in my opinion, most of the time. So I always tune in to see. And plus he's like me and Twink, always in the battle of the ball, just waits up and down. So
Right.
but he doesn't have as much height as we do, but I've always loved the intensity that he approaches everything with. So I think this Tessa thing may get him back in the limelight a little bit. I just hope they do it right. They didn't do it right with Brian Cage. I really cut a big promo on it, and I think somebody heard it, or else somebody else felt the same way. They redid it all with Rip Rogers. The threat of violence is just as important as the violence itself, or
Exactly.
get her up in something and do some catch wrestling and she reverses out because she's Tully's, daughter and she can. That's the only story they need to tell. And the fact of, will a man punch a woman in the face? Those are the only three components. If you can't build a match around that, then I don't know what to tell you. And I think they absolutely have been and can to pay this off.
Yeah, and I have to start watching more Impact now that it's becoming part of my job duties to watch a certain amount of wrestling shows other than the ones that I currently do.
Yeah.
I'll watch a lot more and see where he's going. But I've always respected him as a worker. I think he does great work, and Tessa's a hell of a talent. I agree with you wholeheartedly on a lot of the way the Brian Cage stuff worked. And a story for another time, but we could delve into how I think intergender should be done. But I just remember one thing that really got to me was I believe it was All In, or one of their first pay-per-views before AEW became a big thing, when they had the Battle Royal where Brian Cage buckle bombed Jordan Grace, and Jordan Grace no-sold it and performed some kind of offensive move to Brian Cage. And I about lost my mind.
I did.
Cage is a phenomenal athlete. He's so good at a lot of things. But somebody needs to sit down with him and explain that side of the psychology into wrestling. I would have fired him on the spot. No offense, Brian Cage. I think you're good, but you would have been out.
I love that you said that, because I feel the same way in the fact of I get hot, but if I can get Susio to that point of firing somebody, I know I was right.
Yeah. And I like intergender. I book intergender on all of my shows.
Well, let's talk about that, because here's one thing that I haven't seen anybody do that you did. You worked under Lucha in the women's division in OVW and had as a woman. So you were like it wasn't a trans gimmick or anything like that. It was just the fact that you wanted to get matches and you couldn't get ones on OVW TV. So you started stuffing your bra. You're a smaller guy and put you under full gimmick. And they didn't know right away that it was Susio under there, right? We did the reveal.
What's funny about that is that was before I put a lot of size on that I would later in my career. So yeah, I did kind of have a similar body type to a lot of the women in the division. It was all built to an angle where I was trying to get with the character Josie on TV, which later morphed into a long-term real-life relationship, which is how it always works in wrestling.
That's how Twink ended up with the big cat.
Yeah. But yeah, I worked as a woman on several shows, and I stuffed my bra, and I caught some of the guys checking out my butt, everything. So,
well, hey, if you ever worked a show with Sunny Kiss, you have no choice.
Yeah.
You have no choice but to check out Sunny Kiss's ass, and they're like, oh, never mind, that's a dude.
Yeah, I don't know what he's done to it, but
dude.
Yeah,
well, here's one reason to watch Impact is Katie Forbes is on there, Rob Van Dam's girlfriend, who has a girlfriend. So Rob Van Dam, the ultimate midlife crisis breakdown in Vegas with two hot Instagram chicks as his girlfriend, smoking weed all day and banging and slapping ass in the hot tub. He's living life right now, Twink.
What a terrible life. Huh?
Absolutely, man. Let's see here. What else we got before we start wrapping her up? Here's one. NXT superstar Chelsea Green debuts on Monday Night Raw. Chelsea Green made her in-ring debut against Charlotte Flair in her first ever match on WWE TV. Green's been wrestling at NXT live events in Florida since being signed with the company since late 2018. Her best friend, tag team partner Deonna Purrazzo, has also debuted on Raw last week against Asuka, a student of the wrestling legend Lance Storm and Storm Academy. Green's been wrestling for nearly 6 years, including a notable run in Impact Wrestling as Hot Mess Laurel Van Ness, winning the Knockouts Championship. She looks like $1,000,000. She's with Zack Ryder, hot as hell. But, dude, to be honest with you, it upsets me. It upsets me to see her go out there when I was a huge mark, not just because she was with Kongo Kong, my tag partner, but for the Laurel Van Ness character. We all three of us love character. We know that it's way more important than anything in a match. And to see her go out there and just be another super hot piece of WWE ass in the Divas division versus what we could get, I really hope that something devolves and drives her into madness to go back to do character, because she's so good at it.
Yeah, I love the Impact character she did. So we'll have to see where it goes. I saw clips of the match, but to me, it looked like she just had a straight-up wrestling match.
Pretty much.
She was just presenting herself as a sports entertainer. Where she will really shine is being able to show that character and those promos that a lot of the women cannot match her there. So we'll see what she does. I hope whatever it is involves her character a lot, because the Hot Mess was awesome. And I'd like to see where it goes. I think that was similar with Allie in AEW before we saw the bunny thing. Like, Allie had a defined role in AEW. In Impact, where you understood why Allie was the way she was and how her character got that way. And she was kind of like Lumpy Magoo in a way, like where she would get surprised that she could beat somebody up.
Exactly.
It was warm and the crowd got behind it and they got it. So I think she had a little bit of trouble when she transferred over to AEW, and she wasn't necessarily that Allie, but she was just presenting herself as just like a sports entertainer, like a girl that wrestles, kind of like Chelsea Green. So now she went in that other order with the bunny character, and we'll see how that plays out. But that's what happens sometimes. So we got to see something with character, though, in my opinion, is what Miss Green needs.
Well, Lance Storm was hired as an agent, so if they're on the same show, hopefully they'll have her best interest in mind. You know, Lance, his character was as straight man Stonewall as you could be, with massive technical wrestling. I'm sure she has plenty of chops if she learned under Lance, but you know, Twink, that big overblown character is what you love, absolutely, because that's what you do the best as well. I think her money in millions is written there, not on being another sexy side piece for Zack Ryder or whatever.
Do not see the green in Chelsea Green, but there is money in that character.
Yeah. Yep, I think so too. Chelsea Green is just another forgettable hot girl. And Deonna Purrazzo, you know, a friend of the show here too, trained by another one of our brothers, Damian Adams, who's really got the pipeline to the hottest young female talent in the world right now, where he's finding these girls with zero in-ring ability beforehand, and in the scope of about 18 months, getting them in front of WWE and Impact for tryouts. And these girls are getting signed based off of him giving them Rip Rogers knowledge, man.
He's great. And I wish we had more female students coming into the Florida scene. We have one that's done really well in our camp, Jenna Van Muscles, who has become a regular with Shine and is hopefully working her way onto Evolve. She's been doing some stuff all over the world. It's no secret if you see on my social media, we have developed a personal relationship, but speaking just from a objective standpoint, the training that she's done with us and watching how much she's grown over the last couple years, she's one of those girls that could be doing a lot of really cool shit. And you need those pipelines. You need the Damian Adams pipeline in Jersey that can pump out these women. Seidel, people don't know this, but Seidel used to train, quote unquote, a lot of the women that were around the WWE roster in those days. He really helped out a lot of the Kellys and whoever would have been around. So he's great with working with female talent, and I'm just a good coach of any kind of talent. So we look forward to pumping out some more good female talent out of here. But Jenna's done great, and Deanna's no joke, man. I think she
No.
could be like a Shayna Baszler type of character, just a badass wrestler in the ring. I don't think she needs glitz and glamour. She don't need to be the pretty girl. Let her go out there and be the best wrestler on the show.
I agree. But I got to say this because it is a locker room. Is there something more there? Because I don't think they knew they were going on the road, because I've seen Deanna look in a little bit better shape than when she was on camera. And not to say the camera.
I didn't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They don't tell you shit, man. Like, there was no prep. So that my point is not that it's hot on Deanna, but when you're signed, you got to stay ready, right? Especially if you're going to be judged on first impressions. And I think she kicked ass.
I'll give you another little stooge there. For some reason, I generally tend to date inside the wrestling business, if you all well know. I don't think many other women would understand it. So speaking from experience, a lot of times when it's either that time of the month for a woman or travel, a lot of times you will notice some bloating and things like that come out that make them look different than they normally would on another day. And a lot of times this happens to come at inopportune moments, like big shows, TV. So sometimes when you might be looking at a girl and say, oh, well, maybe she might be a little, it could just be that time. And for some reason, her belly's sticking out an extra 5 minutes than it did 3 days before. Right. It's the unfortunate part about being a woman, but it's something they have to deal with. And any woman wrestler knows what I'm talking about.
Well, I deal with that too. Twink and I have dealt with that.
There you go. So you know the deal. One day you're sexy as fuck.
Come out.
Yeah. One day Ben's walking around sexy in a tight black shirt, and then the next day he's eating cheeseburgers.
Probably the same day, actually. Eddie Edwards versus RVD to clash for the first time ever at Bash at the Brewery 2. Impact's announced that Eddie Edwards will take on RVD. As unbelievably as it sounds, it's nearly 20 years the two veterans haven't had so much as a tag team match against one another. Edwards has been with Impact since 2014, but RVD returned prior to his WWE arrival, so they missed connections there. Bash of the Brewery 2 airs an Impact Special Plus on Friday, January 10th, just 2 nights before the company's Hard to Kill pay-per-view in Dallas. This is free to all at the Brewery in San Antonio, Texas. So good dream booking there. I mean, we did that at 2CW with Sami and RVD right before they both left in 2014, respectively, and it drew huge sellout, standing room only. I think this is what Impact has the ability to do now that nobody else does, is say, where can we get these little dream matches, dream bookings that nobody else can put on, and then we'll show some tits and ass with that, and we already look better than everybody else, man.
Yeah. Well, they did it with Shamrock, last month. Definitely have potential to do that. And they're one of the few companies that is kind of honest about stuff like that, we do need a little bit of that. We need to show some of the sexiness, but we also need to show how badass women can be. And they've done a good job of intermingling legends and some notable performers with guys that are currently on the roster, up and coming. Like I said, I got to start watching more of their stuff. But yeah, it sounds good to me.
Brewery.
Yeah, it's like it's in America now. Like, instead of pubs, a lot of places open these micro brews since you've been gone that are like bigger places where they brew their own, and then they'll have their own bar. But they have a big floor space for these like tanks and shit that they need, right, to brew the beer. So they're kind of making for good wrestling spot shows because they're half factory, half bar.
Industrial.
Then. Yeah, and very industrial, exactly. So guys can actually go off the fucking top rope and hit their head on the HVAC stuff. It's a good time.
Well, they better have a lot of brewski at that event. If they don't, I'll be annoyed.
Yeah, man.
That's where I do a lot of my events.
Do you?
My Bar War shows.
Yeah, it's Bar War.
With breweries. It's a new thing in the States. A lot of beer companies are wanting to be involved with pro wrestling.
Mike Hawes and those guys out there in LA are doing those too, man. So it's pretty good. I mean, as long as the crowd ain't too fucked up and wants to do something, you better have good security if you're me. But
yeah, thankfully we haven't had any nonsense yet.
Good, good. Let's see. Impact also moving to Saturdays for the 28th and January 4th. It'll return to its normal schedule. But yeah, I think you guys should definitely tune in. You'll like the inside ribs that they're doing. and how they're getting guys over. Long-term story-wise, they got one young dude who wants to bang another one of his buddy's moms, and he's all pissed off. And there's some fun DCW storyline shit in there, man, that they're doing good work with.
I watched that TJP match last week. That was pretty dope. And I watched some of the
Was it dope, dude?
Stuff.
I told you it got me hot.
Yeah, it was good. Other than the part that you didn't like. But see, that's how we're the same but different, man. Like, that is what happens today in wrestling.
I can't sell for that, dude. I can't sell for that.
They're gonna do it, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, but don't like it or not. No, I don't. I don't have to accept wrong, dude. That's like
you don't have to like it.
On a way more extreme level. It's like, hey, people are gonna molest little kids. You gotta accept it. That's just the fucking way things are.
Way more extreme.
I know, but to me, you're molesting my child of wrestling by doing that shit, and me going, oh no, it's okay.
I was thinking about different flavors of ice cream, personally.
Well, it's this, Twink. Yeah. Flavors of ice cream and the business, going forward, that's a fine argument. But when this is what it was. It was double down, okay? So TJP takes a big super kick. Boom, he's staggered. Doesn't go down. That's fine. Old boy goes off the rope to give him the fucking line or whatever to take him off his feet and the high spot drill coming. He comes to life instantly, jumps up, does a spinning kick, lays the guy out who was coming at him, and then falls down dead like it's a double down. So he goes, super kick, staggered, fuck you, I'm alive, jump kick, kick you in the face, no, I'm dead. That is not the evolution of wrestling. That is a wrong double down. That's not, like, the rest of the match was awesome, but like those type of things instantly kill. What did you ask me what I mean?
No. I said humming.
Oh.
I've been traveling around. I've been in so many locker rooms the last several years. That spot that you're describing now is becoming the arm drag, hip toss, body slam spot of 12, 15 years ago. You will see a version, right or wrong or indifferent, you will see a version of what you just described on 99.9%.
Because they saw TJP do it on TV. They saw it's not because it's right or evolves, because they saw him do it on TV. So now it's okay. It's the same as Jordan Grace getting buckle bombed and not believable by fucking. So that's not an evolution. That's just not knowing the craft, dude. That's just not knowing.
No, man. It's gonna happen. I like that you hate it so much. It entertains me that you hate it so much. You know what I do, and you'll probably appreciate this. I train my guys and I say, this is the way you should do things. And I show them like a Rip Rogers strike exchange and things like this. And then I will say, this is how most guys will do things today if you go to, say, an ROH and AEW or this. And then I show them how to do it that way. And I tell them, depending on where you're working, who you're working, and what is asked of you, you will now know both ways to do this. So my boys and girls will know how to work an hour on the fly without calling shit. And they'll know how to do a 22 part high spot with a back and forth slugfest where nobody sells and everyone sells it. That's just, it's what it is, man. As a wrestler, you don't have to
I wish you would do it. I wish you would do it this way. He can get all the way there. All you need to do is, all right, so boom, super kick, he's stunned, goes off the ropes to come back with the line. TJP can come to life there. I don't have a problem with that. Jump, do the spin kick, he misses, ducks under, hits the ropes shitty, comes back, hits him with the back of the head on the fucking thing because
that'd be cool.
And then they go down. And it's not that TJP is trying to change the game. I just don't think he knows, even if he's been to that level, to be like, dude, this is phony. All we need to do is, if I want to get my shit in and look athletic, I don't need to hit it. I'll just miss it. You go off that and hit me and we'll go down. The other way exposes wrestling fully, and it's not a fucking evolution. It's just doing it the wrong way.
He knows he doesn't care. And I could say this as being one of the boys.
I got a problem
I've been
with
in
that.
Matches where I've done both ways, where I've said, we shouldn't do this, so we're not going to do this. And then I've been in matches where me and my opponent have said, this probably shouldn't be done this way, but we know we'll be able to get away with it and the crowd will like it. Look at this example. Shawn Michaels, Rip Rogers drilled into all of our heads. Why would you punch someone, shoot him off the ropes and have him reverse you? What's HBK's comeback? Punches, shoots him off the ropes, they reverse him, but he's fucking Shawn Michaels. He doesn't do what you're supposed to do, but he makes it work. Did TJP make that work? Obviously not, to Ben Hameen, but that's sometimes the boys are going to say, fuck how it should be done. This is the way I'm going to do it.
That just opens up a rabbit hole, a can of worms, someplace where we go down, and now wrestling is effed that a girl 120 pounds can work a guy 270 because of those same reasons, dude. And I'm just never going to be able to sell for it. I love and respect your opinions, but if he was standing here before me, TJP, I'd say the same thing to him. I'd ask Seidel the same, because I got a lot of respect for Seidel, lots. And I'd be like, dude, can you explain to me? And because I sat there with Ciampa when he was just going to NXT, we were at Blitz. I go, dude, you and I came up the same way. He goes, yeah, they just look at it a different way of like, look at it like a ladder, like you're taking steps up, everything just more dangerous. I go, I don't got a problem with that. It's when you kill the believability in that story by getting your shit in instead of saying, I could have got it in, but I missed and it fucking backfired. They just don't have that for some reason, why no one's ever been able to put that into them.
We need a show just like this where we talk about this every week. We're gonna add something like this to the
Well, this is what the Friday Locker, dude, this is what I want from you on all the shows. And Twink, you know you have an open invite. I know your schedule is so busy with as much as you produce, but this is where wrestling needs to be held accountable. And there's guys who have shows like a Meltzer or whatever who could never hold it accountable because they never got in the fucking trench, puked in the corner, fucking went to Hogtown, pulled Hog Wild off a fence while he's dangling upside down, got Man Beast from fucking Bardstown. Like, they never done that. So their opinion means fuck all to me, and they don't even know who tags first on the hot tag. So why should we say anything to them? And this is what I want your show, the locker rooms with Strangler Steve, because you've got so much knowledge. And then it's so good for me to come in and cut you down because it makes me look so much better than you. And, and then, just because I need to learn too, man, because I don't work your style. And
you shouldn't. I wouldn't work your style.
Well, you can. It's easy to fit you into mine.
What's funny about this too is like, you talked about NXT, and the way Ciampa explained that to you is kind of how most guys are looking at structuring now. I think NXT has a dope product. I'll say this on a public forum. Why do I keep saying forearm? Public forum. I'm not a fan of the WWE product, so I have stopped watching it. However, I am a fan of NXT. I do watch that, and I watch the major WWE events. But what I will say, I am getting upset with NXT because they are raising the bar too much. They are doing what you've just told me, but it's going to reach, and this is coming from me, a guy who's dove off rooftops. They're going to raise the bar to a level to where someone is going to die, careers will be shortened, and wrestling will change for the worse. That spot, I've worked Tommaso, I've worked Adam Cole. That spot they did was
Kryptonite
ridiculous.
Crunch off the top of the cage, you mean?
They were both so good on the mic, so good in the ring. Why either one of them agreed to that, I will never know. And why either one of them thought they had to do it. What sucks as a smaller wrestler in today's landscape is you're expected to do big and exciting things. That's why you see so much stuff. But they should be smarter because they know how to work psychology. So I am getting very upset. And I'm upset at NXT as a whole. I can't believe Triple H let them do that.
Yeah, who's letting that go through? I was going to ask you because you did business for Lars Sullivan there. You were on Impact the month after that. Mm-hmm. You've done great business for everybody.
Sean agented my segment.
Oh,
and it was safe. I was taken care of.
So who's letting the guy who has got reconstructive neck surgery in his second or third match back okay that spot? That's not just like in a sequence, that's your highest spot of like, we got to fucking do this. Or even the fact of, all right, we'll tease it. You bit me off. I'll take the table bump, Adam Cole, and then you fucking come down and do what you got to do so you're safe. I just don't understand liability-wise how that can even become, like that can even be on the table, let alone
Adam
make it to
Cole
TV.
Is their hottest heel. Arguably, you can make Adam Cole money with Adam Cole for the next 10 years. If they do him right, he could go from NXT, he can go to Raw, he could work with anyone. You can make money with Adam Cole. And if they don't know how to do it, AEW damn sure will. That guy has got money to be made. But he can't make that money if he breaks his goddamn neck doing that. And these are the things in wrestling. And this is coming from me, you know, pot calling the kettle black. I've done some stuff, but there's a place where I draw a line in the sand of some stuff is too much. And wrestling as a whole is becoming too much. Right now at 35 years old, I'm done. My career's over. And I've never done anything similar to that bump they did off the cage. So I want the wrestlers listening to this to know that one little thing can fuck you and ruin your entire career and change your life. My life has changed dramatically. Everything about my life has changed in 1 year due to a head injury. So how they could put their performers, those two in particular, and allow them to do that, and the either one of them to do it to each other is mind-boggling. I was friends with Tommaso. I always was nice with Adam Cole. I put him over on a TV match, but no, boys, this is too much, and shame on Hunter. Shame on you.
Yeah, that's just them selling for AEW, putting those guys on the line to punch a big bump card that way, man. No sense whatsoever.
The art of wrestling, isn't it, is to make it look real, but it's not. You're looking after each other, you're protecting each other, it's safe. But you watch the product now, and you see there's a short shelf life on all these guys. They're doing stuff that isn't safe and doesn't even look real.
Kairi Sane, I mean, as tiny as she was in that match, they just had him in there like, then they got to sell on Twitter, oh, she was a warrior, she finished the match. Yeah, dude, but you shouldn't be bumping a 120-pound girl on ladder bumps and table bumps that don't mean fuck all just because you're trying to show that the girls can be in the main to keep pushing these overall agendas that are most likely a rib, to be honest with you, to hurt them, to give them more time so they can go, see, you didn't draw. We got to go back to the guys in the main here.
And I knew it the moment it happened. I've been through enough. I knew exactly what was wrong with Kairi. I called it. I was watching it with my lady. She could tell something was up. I knew exactly what was wrong with her. The right call on that would have been to pull her out right there. Like Roddy Strong rolling into the ring a few weeks ago to replace Bobby Fish because that motherfucker can work. I don't know how they would have done it, and it would have been tough in the TLC, but something needed to be called, and Kairi had no business out there. Just wrestling in general, like we need to step up the concussion awareness and all that, and we'll talk about that in 2020, to greater detail. But just that psychology of we have to top what someone just did. We need to be the new cool gift this week. That's what's happening on the indies that has now got into mainstream wrestling, and that's kind of what just keeps happening is guys are no longer thinking about how do I make my character work or how can I tell a story. I'll wrestle some of these kids that are phenomenal and can do every high spot, and when I'm putting the match together with them, I have to stop them to explain, hey, this is the point where you could do that, but then we need to lie down here, and I need to show how much that hurt me before we lead into this other thing, before we do the other cool things. And that part of wrestling isn't getting taught as much anymore, and guys are going to get hurt, and guys are going to have short careers. It makes me sad as a wrestler, makes me sadder as a retired wrestler, because I want these guys to be safe.
Yeah, I agree, man. And that factory system is just drilling that into their head, unfortunately, because of what's popular and them selling for AEW. I mean, Twink, you remember Tommaso. I mean, here's another guy who's not just willing to do what it takes, but chop wood, carry water when he was the skinny little manager for Ox and Hammer in anger management, right? And come out.
Yeah.
And to look where he is now is, you could argue, one of the top 5 to 10 stars in WWE on their roster.
I didn't even recognize him because he was a totally different character back then. Clean shaven, curly hair. But then when you saw some of the flashback videos, you went, oh my word. Yeah. He's totally reinvented himself. But no, let's hope everyone stays safe in 2020, makes a difference, makes an impact, and looks after each other.
I agree completely, man. Final story here just for tonight. If you wanted to tune in, 10 p.m. Eastern, and you're into Poker Night in America, the episode's a wrestling episode featuring Pat Tanaka, Fred Ottman, Chavo Guerrero, and PJ Black. So the guys playing some cards. I'm not sure if they're in Vegas or not. be nice to have Disco Inferno there to come pick him up, take him to the strip club afterwards.
Oh yeah. So what is this? They're playing poker and it's
poker night.
televised?
Yeah, Poker Night in America on NBC, 10 p.m. tonight, I believe.
Oh, okay. I had no
Eastern
idea
time.
that even existed.
Yeah, those poker shows were hot and then went away, but it'll be interesting. I hope he wears the Shockmaster helmet on when he comes out there. That'd be excellent if Ottman hit that spot.
Hey, I'm not gonna have to review that now and have another show on Hamid Media Group about Monday Night Poker.
I don't know. Maybe it might be a better show than reviewing Raw, man. If need
I
be.
won't do that. I'll leave that to you and Alvarez.
Shit, man. It's going good on Russo's brand. At least we have our own little self-help group here, and everybody's doing great things. SmackDown Attack and Impact Attack, Impact off this week, but we'll be back when they come back, you guys. Well, that's our news and headlines from ProWrestling.com. I really don't give a shit, man, because I got two guys who I have supreme respect for here with me today, and my Christmas is made just getting to talk and hang out with them like it's the old days, man. And I hope we get to do more of this. Twink, like I said, open invitation to come back anytime you want to talk anything pay-per-view, something special on the side. And I'd like to actually have you on for a Hameen episode here in the next month so we can get that book too, man, so we can talk more old times.
Looking forward to it. I'm going to break out a couple of brewskis now, get some turkey sandwiches, and chill out with a Christmas movie.
Oh, I love it, man. Well,
beautiful.
Best to Mom, dude, and we'll see you soon. Hopefully, maybe WrestleMania season this year. Sil, what do you got planned? You get anything good for Christmas you're looking to break into, or what?
Myself or Martin?
No, you.
Trying to stay sane, but no, man. I had a nice day with the family, and got some cool stuff. I got like pretty much every wrestling sock in the world. My mother bought me like Piper, Macho, Hogan, Warrior. So that was pretty cool. My lady got me some cool gifts. The best part was just coming back home last night and just laying down on the couch and watching Christmas movies.
Nice.
That was that's all I want to do. But I got a New Year's party coming up next week, and I got Impact to review AW to review the next day. But we're doing it, man. I'm almost settled into the new house, so we still got shit to do. And fans, I promise my office will be ready soon. Give me some slack. I'm not exactly moving at the pace I used to in my younger days, but it's coming together, and when it is, it's going to be awesome. It's going to even be better than Ben Hameen's office.
Son of a bitch. How dare you? But it doesn't matter, because if his audio is shitty or not, because it's what you paid for here at Free Mediums, here at hackerhameen.podbean.com, infidels. It's the core. The brothers from OVW are back, and you never know who might do a run-in next time, because we all have the true knowledge to give to you here on the Friday Veteran Locker Room. YOLO.